So hey, what's up? Hello. How you doing, everybody? Welcome to the BINACT Podcast, where we talk music, the people that make it, and the communities that listen to it. Tonight, I'm excited. So first of all, I'm not even about to have and pretend like I'm composed and like I'm gonna gingerly enter us into the episode today because I'm really excited. So first, I will introduce my co-host AD. AD, say what's up to the people. You here?
What's up to the people?
And so I practiced this earlier on my walk, and I'm going to see if I do it correctly. So today I'm also joined with a good friend and podcaster and all around awesome content creator who used to make Runaway Jukebox, the podcast with music, news, and what, Kim?
Conversation. Oh, I love that.
I was walking this morning and I was like, do I remember how this goes? Is this how it goes?
Wow. Take me back.
It's been some years. But yeah, so joined by Jay Burritos, aka Jason, aka Light Skin Wonder. I don't know. I just gave you that last name. I just gave you that last one. That was off the cuff.
What's going on, everybody? I am happy to finally be here on the BINACT podcast. Candace is a very special person in my heart, in my life, and I've always been a fan of her work. And she's definitely, like, back when I did have my podcast. I mean, you know, back when you would leave comments on SoundCloud, if there were 20 comments, 19 were Candy Boo. And you know, we became internet friends, and I'm just glad that we still, you know, kept that strong. Like, just like you were saying, 8 years now, basically. We've known each other. That's crazy.
That's craziness.
Yeah.
Fun fact, obviously, I've told the story. We've told the story on the podcast before, but AD and I, you know, don't know each other IRL when we met over the internet, and we've met in person once. But I have made connections with Jason and AD via podcast communities, which I think is really cool. And the internet can be a cool place when it's not being weird as shit and creepy. So I'm just excited about tonight because we've got some good shenanigans, bad shenanigans, and actual discussion pieces that I want to talk about. But first, and I'll let our guest go first. Jason, how are you doing?
Hold on, Candace. You forgot. I know it's been a couple weeks, but you forgot.
What did I forget?
He responded.
Oh shit. Okay. Yes, actually, we can talk about that. All right. Intro. So for context, Jason, we love Jameson here. You know, Jameson, soul singing. Love Jameson. We love Jameson here. And so
what did he respond to?
AD, did you tweet and you were like, he's been quiet lately or something?
So it kind of goes off of our last episode, right? Or was it episode before that?
I think it was the last one of 2022, I think.
So we were saying that for artists that we would like to see come out this year, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And we always have this theory, is like, when Jameson is cooking, he doesn't say anything. He just goes blank, right? So shout out to R&B Radar. They put out their like, who are some underrated artists that you'd like to see come out this year. Or something of that sort, right? And I put Jameson. The man looks. The man watches.
He watches even like when you just type in, like when you don't even tag him. If you just type in Jameson, like he'll be like, I saw that.
I did not tag him at all. Like she said, I did not tag him at all. I just answered the tweet. And again, shout out to R&B Radar. And he just comes out and says, it's coming.
First of all, I feel like he likes us personally. I feel like because he's responded, he liked some of my tweets before, like when I tweet at him. I was really close to his set for it is in 2015. Like I was like super close to him. I didn't get him to sign my CD because of something happened. But I just personally feel like he fucks with us. And I'm gonna, let that be my headcanon. But I'm excited. Whatever that is, I'm ready.
Y'all made that happen.
Yeah, right. We conjured it. We
willed it into existence.
We conjured it. We 100% did. I did forget that he responded to us. So I'm glad that you reminded me. Because I've got to find Velvet on vinyl. That's what I want that on vinyl. I actually don't even have Velvet on CD, but I've got It Is, and I've got this last one that he dropped. And I want Velvet so bad. I can't wait. I'm getting excited.
Here's a question. What time frame do you think he's coming out?
I think normally fall or summer, fall, because I think that's when he normally drops. He never drops in the springtime, I don't think.
No, I think I think last one was October, right?
Yeah, I'm thinking either.
Something tells me I'll say midsummer.
Don't drop in the spring. I don't want it in the springtime. I'm not ready. I'm not prepared. Yeah, I'm not prepared. It does not give me enough time. Wait, give me summer. At least give me summer.
That's what I said. Midsummer with the tour, maybe shortly there to follow.
Album in August, tour out in October.
And I'm gonna see him. God damn it! This tour, I'm gonna see him. Last time I was too scared. I was too scared. It was COVID. I wasn't going.
I told you don't be sissy. Just wear a mask. You'll be fine.
I mean, I'm at that stage now. I was not at the last time he toured. It was 2021.
Look,
I was there.
Yeah, I didn't catch the vid until I went to a Bad Bunny concert, and then I came home. And I had to miss. Oh my god, I had to miss out on the weekend concert.
Don't relive it. Don't relive it.
Yeah, you know what? Let's keep my mind in a happy place.
Don't relive it. Don't relive it.
Let's keep my mind in a happy place. You're right.
Regardless, I mean, I'm better now. Like for the weekend concert, I wore my mask and stuff like that. But I mean, and Beyonce, I will probably be N95'd up because
you got tickets.
Shout out to Kayla is working the magic. Kayla said, because she's the Beyonce ticket master. Kayla said, I got it. And I said, okay, sis.
Crazy.
Hold up.
Shout out to Kayla.
No.
Kayla, go.
I have to ask a question. Because there have been rumors and controversy about the price of these tickets.
I mean, Kayla hasn't gotten ours yet, but my other best friend Tamara, who was on the podcast a few months ago, she got hers. She said they were like $300. I paid that for the weekend.
So you only had to give up half your firstborn because I
paid that for Abel.
True.
I'm definitely. Where did you sit? No, there's a method to my madness. Where did you sit for $300?
Abel, I was on the floor.
You ain't.
I was on the floor. But I mean, Beyonce, I'm not going to be able to get $300 Beyonce floor. I mean, that's not even.
That's impossible.
That's not realistic.
You'd have to give up your mortgage.
I say like that's not realistic.
You up in the nosebleed almost to the point that you can see.
Not for $300. People are blowing. Now, actually, I'm not going to say this too loud because I actually need y'all to still believe that the tickets are very expensive. Actually, the tickets are $1 million. They're so expensive, you can't get them.
Have you been seeing the memes of the people, being like, actually, Beyonce is the worst performer live.
She's so bad.
You'll hate her.
So bad. Don't go
her. Her album actually sucks.
Terrible. But no, seriously, realistically, I mean, first of all, she's Beyonce. Beyonce could charge $5 a seat and still make money because she is who she is. But the tickets only get crazy either A, if you're fucking with the resellers, obviously, or B, if you're trying to be on the floor or do her packages or whatever. But I mean, there are seats that exist that are not, $7 million. Like I said, I mean, Tamara got hers in Houston. So
wow.
Yeah, and Houston, is a big popular city because that's where she's from. So
I think I heard a rumor, and I say heard a rumor because it's just like a tweet somewhere. That, I haven't verified this yet. That Ticketmaster had made a special rule for this tour to where resellers couldn't sell them for more than the face value of the ticket.
Huh?
And I would believe that only because right now Ticketmaster is in hot water over all of the Taylor Swift stuff.
Well,
hell yeah! Y'all talked about that before.
we briefly touched on it. I remember saying that they need to get their shit together for Beyonce. I just remember making that comment. I was like, you need to fix it because Ticketmaster had people in a tizzy. And I mean, Ticketmaster really need their ass beat, honestly.
For a long time.
They really need their ass beat.
It's been that way. Because why am I paying like an extra 50% on top of whatever my ticket is? Like, where are these fees? What does that mean?
And like, what is it? Especially because when I went to go see The Weeknd, right? Like, not that I expected it to be super fancy anywhere, because Ticketmaster don't have no control over the venue itself. But like, why I get there and like floor seats for The Weeknd are just chairs in Mercedes-Benz. It's not like it's nothing lit. It's just a chair, like literally like some chairs like zip tied together. Like it's chairs. Like, okay. But yeah, Ticketmaster is so awful. And I really hope, I really hate that people are freaking out, you know what I mean? Like thinking that Beyonce tickets are super expensive, but also, I try not to be like a live show elitist. I really do try not to be that person.
Well, you kind of sounded like one right now.
No, I'm not.
Speak your piece, sister.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not. No, what I'm about to say is
she just came in here like this. She just came in here like this. She's like, $300 for some tickets. Yeah, that's easy. You know, that's light work. That's light work. $300.
I do what I need to do for the artist that I love. I mean, I make it happen. But I was gonna say that it just always shows me who doesn't know how to navigate concert tickets. Like this always makes me be like, I know who's first time or like second time buying tickets to see. Like I
did not think that's where you were going.
I see you. No judgment, but I'll be like, this your first rodeo, isn't it?
I was about to say, you looking like that James Franco meme where he's like, first time, huh?
right. Really? Is your first time here? Is it?
Oh, like, that's hilarious.
Is it?
Okay. I promise y'all, that's the only rabbit hole I'm gonna take you down. I just realized you asked me how I'm doing, and somehow we got to talking about Ticketmaster.
I mean, yeah, but
so I apologize for that.
We got it. I don't even. Yeah. How are you? Yeah,
I'm doing well. I just adopted a cat about a month and a half ago. For people that don't know me from my stream or the podcast, he's 11 months old and he just got neutered last week, and he's just been acting a fool. So I've been spending most of my time taking care of him, spending time with Danny. I took the week off of streaming, came back this week. That's been nice. But I'm feeling pretty good. I'm in a good place. 2023, you know, changing things up, trying to be a better me, all that good stuff.
It's shocking that we are already in February.
I know. and that the first week is up now, you know, like
we're just here.
Time just keeps spinning faster the older we get, I swear.
I hate it here. Eddie, how is February life? How's your Black History Month been?
See, he said that, and I was like, it's just been a blur. I think the last thing I remember of any significance in my life was 2 weeks ago. Was it 2 weeks ago? Yeah. I went to see Neo at the Kennedy Center.
That is right. And I didn't know what the Kennedy Center was. That happened.
Jay's like Kennedy Center. Just stare there straight.
Yeah, I'm sorry. What is the Kennedy Center?
Okay, see, thank you. I feel validated. Thank you very much.
I am a sheltered child. There's a lot that I don't know in this world. There's a lot that I do know, because I'm a fanatic about the things that I love, but there are gaping holes in my knowledge that you'll be shocked by.
The Kennedy Center. You've heard of Kennedy Center honors, right?
I hadn't heard of it either. I'm not.
Oh my gosh.
It was now for
I'm really the old man in this group.
AD also lives in like the DMV area. So I feel like that. I mean, not to say that it's not like a big deal, but like he's also
concert.
Right there.
It's a big concert hall opera orchestra. That's like where
I had no idea. I had no idea. So I feel a little validated because I did not know what it was either. And I was like, I didn't know.
I'm glad to validate you, Candy Boo. I'm sorry to make you feel old, AD.
How do I reach these kids?
How do I reach the youth?
How do I reach the youth? But yeah. Look, I had great seats actually, and I didn't have to pay no $300 to see Neo. And he had the whole place turned up.
Neo's not a $300 artist, but I'm gonna leave
What?
that where it's at.
The man had
I'm gonna leave that
residency,
where it's
and
at.
the man had a residency in Vegas. So anybody who can do that,
You know what? I'll specify. I'm not paying $300 to see Neo. I won't say that he's not worth
I ain't paying
$300 because he's
$300 to see anybody.
not nobody. You wouldn't have paid $300 to see Michael Jackson.
Sorry.
Sorry for that, man. No.
No.
Yeah, I'm talking shit like I didn't pay $350 a ticket for those Bad Bunny tickets last year. So yeah, they were very. I mean, it's the reason why he made the most money on tour last year is because he was charging. He was charging a child.
See, look.
It was a birthday gift, so I wanted to splurge, but
no, but still, I didn't think that he was that pricey too.
Oh no, he definitely.
I should have expected that though.
And we were not on the floor. I mean, we had really good seats. Don't get me wrong, but we were not on the floor.
And this comes to a conversation, and that's not even on our rundown. But the concert going experience is becoming a premium experience, and it is. And so they're pricing people out.
That's why I tried to preface my statement with like truly being like a show elitist, because I know that that's not something like everybody doesn't get to experience it. And back in the day, you used to kind of be like, oh yeah, tickets are at most $50, and like, or like your premium like your real good tickets weren't super expensive. I mean, they also didn't come with meet and greets and all that other stuff. But I mean,
I still feel like you're not even getting all that for the prices they're charging. I mean, the meet and greets are like 4 figures sometimes, depending on who you're talking about. You know,
and I mean, you really just get to breathe in their vicinity, and that's it.
Take the same selfie that everybody else is getting, that everybody else paid for. Okay, cool.
I
don't mean to shame it. You know,
right? Like I personally,
if that's your thing, that's your thing.
I personally draw the line at meet and greets, and I mean, not to like, that's where I guess I'm old school, but like, you know, if I see you in the streets or something, like, you know, whenever, like, I remember one of my claim to fame is when I did see Childish Gambino on the camp tour, my friend was like asked to go back to his tour bus, you know, like, cute, like whatever. But like, I'm not about to pay $1,000 to like take a prom pic with Chris Brown. That's okay. I'm over it. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it.
Hey, get your money.
AD, you bring up an important point and something that is on the rundown for tonight. And I have so many feelings around this, but Jason, I'll go to you first since you're the guest. What do you think the most influential era of music is? There are no right or wrong answers, and era in this sense can be considered, so it can be maybe a decade or like a moment. So like, you know, like Motown era or whatever.
Yeah. So I thought about this a lot when you originally gave it to me, because I was stuck. I was like, can I really name, especially since I'm only 30 years old, but like I listen to a lot of music. And I'm like, can I name definitively an era that like is the most influential or like the most important? And I was drawing a blank. Like the first thing I thought of immediately, just being black, I mean, and growing up on soul music from my grandparents, was the Motown era. Just like that, like 60s, 70s, like era of soul and funk and R&B that seems to like have made a slight comeback, because I mean, like everything is making a comeback because music is cyclical, right? And so I feel like a lot of artists are tapping more into not just like the neo soul of the 90s, but like going back even further to like the funk and the soul, like, you know, that era of music we're talking about. But then I also thought about it even further, and especially after the Grammys that just happened this weekend, and I was like, I don't know, maybe like dance, like house music, like disco is maybe more of a influential era, because a lot of artists seem to be going back to that too.
Because that's still 60s. The disco is 60s, 67.
I would think so. But I'm thinking maybe like that decade, like the 60s and 70s specifically. And if I can only choose one, I would probably say the 70s over the 60s. I don't know why.
Arbitrarily the 70s.
Yeah.
Okay, I want to go last. So AD, you pick, because I feel like I have a take. I have a take.
I'm going with the 80s. I'm going with the 80s because all eras build off of each other. We can all agree on that, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the 80s has had more of a lasting impact just because in terms of the creativity, which you can like we said, musical, cyclical, but at the same time, we're also seeing the difference, the different soundscapes and whatnot that when you listen to music, I would say even from the past decade, it's basically copying what the 80s sound was, and even I would say even if you were saying like house music or dance music or whatnot, those were actual singers. So even when you
Right.
watch a concert from back then and hear them now, of course, you're going to see the difference in the artists, but they can still sing. So even with the gizmos and gadgets and all that type of stuff, which we still use today, they were at the end of it, they were still singers. I would say like right now we're getting back to like real singing. But you know, you like a perfect example is you could put Whitney Houston on a dance track and you can put her into a slow jam or whatever in that time frame, and you could still say that girl knows how to sing. And I think a lot of artists in that 80s, I'll even tap into early 90s, but could just flat out sing. I think afterwards there was like a lull, of just real singers, maybe even innovation on the production aspect. But once technology started getting better and people were being more creative, then everyone was really taking from it. And even now,
Yeah.
look at Stranger Things, and
Yeah.
look at how many people are going back to the 80s, and you're like this, wow, I didn't know that song was made in the 80s. It sounds great today. It's a lasting effect. And, that's just good music overall. But for me personally, I would say the 80s is up there.
I agree with both of these very strongly. And unfortunately, neither one of them are my answer. Well, not unfortunately. So
Watch her pick something so.
She's gonna say the snap era, the crank that era.
So
No,
actually,
she
don't
no.
joke because that's the direction I'm going. I don't like. I
She's
don't
going
like.
blog. She's going blog era.
You're saying. All right. So here's my feeling. So yes, I think both. Like I was on both of them. I was actually at like the 60s, 70s era first. So I kind of went or 60s, 70s. Actually, I went 60s first, and then I went 80s. So I had both of those in there. And don't be my ass, but my most influential era of music is going to be the aughts. And I know this is going to be like a what the fuck type of reaction
I'm
to
already
be.
giving you that
I'm
look.
gonna let you cook, sister.
All
I'm gonna
right.
let you cook.
So now we do like both of you made very valid points. So the musicality of the 60s, 70s, and 80s, perfect, like a golden time in music. But if you ask me personally, I think I resonate most with the music that came out when I was coming into understanding music and like music culture. And so that's why I'm relying heavy on the aughts, because I feel like even though there were less full singers, full writers, full, people playing instruments, like obviously a lot of that stuff was like people were using Fruity Loops and finding, different sound bites and things like that and making the music. I think the aughts brought a level of, I'll say, futuristic for the time creativity that we hadn't seen. And it also is, I mean, personally, it's a time in music that I hold near and dear because I also grew up to it or grew up with it. So like I obviously remember music from though like the previous times, but I didn't get to say that I grew up with it. So for me, influence also resonates with the fact that I grew up in it. So I couldn't fully say like, yeah, it's the 60s for me because I know it, but I don't know it. So I know it's a cop out because like the question would be like, oh, influential like to the music game. But I think basically giving the odds its shine because it still had an influence in the game. Like I'm not going to count that out. So don't beat my ass.
I'm not mad at the answer.
I'm
just
going with odds.
Personally, I didn't even factor in my own personal, like the influence that an era had on me. Because if I did that, I would have said like the mid 90s to 2000s R&B. So I get that. I didn't even factor any of that in.
I'm even giving like when you said like the snap era, like was it kind of cringe looking back on it? Yeah, but like in it, we were having fucking fun. Like, and the artists were having fun. I think one of the things that I miss, like I'll say, and the music business gets really shady or whatever, but I do remember artists like truly having fun. Like at least, you know, before they got into the nitty gritty of the business, like before Soulja Boy became Drake, like he was, I mean, he was on, you know, on MySpace, like making shit and, you know, going off or whatever.
I mean, he's definitely one of the most influential people when it comes to like social media marketing and just how music is marketed nowadays in general.
Right.
But so I get that. I get that.
So yeah, don't beat my ass. I feel like I know that there's going to be someone that's like, boo, terrible take. But I mean,
all right,
that's how I feel.
All right. I already know who's going to say that, but we'll leave that off air.
Yeah, boo, terrible take. But I mean, look, those are my feelings.
And you feel those feelings. There you go.
That's the way that I feel. You asked the question, and I had to answer it. With that being said, to kind of segue into our next point, and I'm actually very, very revved up to talk about this. I will give a little bit of context that we had a conversation in Jason's Discord server. There's a music section for discussions about music and sharing links and all that jazz. So we got on the subject of the way that I feel about Frank Ocean. And I've talked about it on the podcast before, but I have an unpopular opinion on Frank Ocean. I don't hate Frank Ocean. I think that he makes good music, but I am not a Frank Ocean stan. Like I sometimes I didn't understand, you know, why everybody would be like, oh, Frank Ocean hasn't dropped in so long. Like I just didn't get the fervor behind the fandom. But I was encouraged to listen to Blonde because I had never heard Blonde. And I want to say when it came out back in 2016, it was only on Apple Music or something like that. Like I vaguely remember not being able to even listen to it.
No, that was the EP that was.
I think Blonde
I'm pretty sure she's right. Both of them were.
I think both like that was because that was when it was first coming out and they were doing like that exclusive stuff.
I forgot about that. Yeah.
So I had Spotify and I was like, I'm not. And back at that time, Apple Music was only for iPhones. So like you couldn't, you know, you couldn't have it. And so back then I was like, yeah, you know, whatever. And I guess I said, you know, I'll catch it when I catch it. And then 6 years, almost 7 years passed, and then I never caught it or whatever. And so I would like to I will leave the album review for Blonde, and I'm going to start by saying I think I get it now. I am not rabid. I'm not Frank Ocean stan level. I'm not. So I'm not going to go as far as to be like, oh my God, like I listened to the album and it baptized me and I'm, you know, into the standum. But so there was, I can't remember which the first set of mixtapes were. Was it Nostalgia Ultra? That was the first set. There was another.
That was his breakout. But
I think it was like the Lonnie Bro. I think
that's what it
called.
was.
Yeah,
that one was the first one, and then I got put on a Nostalgia Ultra in college. Mm-hmm. Then there was Channel Orange, and there was probably some stuff after that I do not remember. And then I remember Blonde. That's how I remember his kind of like ascension. Mm-hmm. And I was really into Channel Orange. Like I enjoyed it, right? Like I remember Channel Orange coming out and that was everybody like really sticking their foot down, being like, Frank Ocean stan, I love him. And I was kind of like, you know, okay. Like, all right, like I like Channel Orange. It's cool. Pyramids lit, you know, great project. But then I heard Blonde, so I started listening to it. I gave it one just kind of like sound listen, like just to hear what it sounds like last week. Just turn it on. What's it sound like? And I turned it on, and at first I was ready to be like, this does kind of sound like dated. Like I was, kind of be like, oh, this like, 2016. Am I right? Like that's what it sounded like. But then I played it again yesterday on my TV, this morning in headphones with a walk, and then again this afternoon. And by this morning, when I heard it in my headphones and got to like some of the skits, and started listening to the lyrics, and then the second run of Godspeed, for some reason, that's when it hit me. Like when I got to Godspeed the second time, which is close to the end of the album, I was like, huh, like this is, it's the album is kind of heavy, like when you get to what he's talking about, but I like using the word refreshing because sometimes you don't get projects that like can move you. So it's really refreshing to like feel deeply when you hear a project. So I don't do like number ratings or anything like that, but I was surprised that I slept on Frank for so long. Again, I'm still not a stan. I need some more music to become a stan. I really do.
We all do.
I need some more music to be like, yeah, like because like people were foaming at the mouth. Remember before Blonde came out and everybody was like, where's Frank? And I'm like, y'all really doing a lot over Channel Orange. Like to me, I just didn't get it. It didn't seem like it was enough to like fully act this way. But now I am anticipating the next Frank drop. I'm not foaming at the mouth, but I am ready for him to drop whenever he's ready. Because these days, the way that I know that creativity comes and goes, I'm just ready for artists to do what they want to do on their own time.
Facts.
And when their spirit moves them. So yeah, that is my first, like it was my first listen and then like first digestion of Blonde. And I actually want to revisit it. Like it's definitely something that I want to play more often. It's a revisitable album for me. AD, you look like you have feelings.
Do I have feelings? I'm going to be the outlier on this one.
You look like you have feelings.
Let me start out with love.
I love that. Let me start out with love.
The songwriting was good on it. Yes. I couldn't get like you said, it's kind of heavy, but the songwriting, I could tell, that he was in it, he was just writing. It was nothing, none of the lyrics offended me or whatnot, right? But I found, now this is where my critique comes in.
And this is where the love stops. The love stops right here.
I'm with you on, I don't get the Frank and super hype, the super over the top fandom. I never got it, right? I don't get it with anybody, right? Like when I heard Nostalgia, was it Nostalgia Ultra? Yeah. I heard that.
That was like the bigger EP, and then Channel Orange was like the album.
Yeah, I liked it. I liked what I was hearing, and I think that's what brought me back to Lonnie Bro, and I was like, oh, I like that, right? Then it was 2 projects, which Blonde was one of them. I'm going to have to say, of sleepy time music.
Did it bore you? Did it put you to sleep?
It bored me. I listen, and look, this is.
They don't kick my ass for the odds. They're kicking our ass for that. So
look, I already know people going to kick my ass for the sake. But I found it to be not all of it, because there were some switch ups. I was like, okay, that's nice, right? But everything else from the production was just very dry, very almost super mellow. That was like, yo, I can't like wake me up. Like
I
what?
have
Like
to respect your opinion. If nothing else, I have to respect the opinion.
look, I'm not coming out here and saying that it's trash. No,
It's
I'm not saying
garbage.
that. Garbage. But I'm not saying that. See, I'm saying it really did. I'm not lying. I was Candace. Don't always say is I come in with a blank slate and say, show me, right?
Yeah, I mean, you
Show me, right? And I said, good songwriting. I think production at points were good, but overall, it did nothing for me. It was dry.
okay, so there's a pocket that I have my run, but even like the Skyline 2 self-control piece, like that's a little pocket. I see what you're saying, because Nike's does, I will say Nike starts off a little slow. It does. But Pink and White is familiar. I don't know if he did singles or anything like that, but Pink and White is the one. Pink and White and Nights are the ones that get played all the time or whatever. Yeah. So even the positioning of Pink and White on the album was like, oh, okay, recognizable song, boom. But like Skyline 2, Self-Control, Good Guy Nights, like that didn't help you out a little bit?
I'm sorry. I was sitting over here yawning.
Right.
Yawning. It was I found it to be dry, and honestly, maybe I didn't understand. Maybe I don't understand where Frank was going in this project, right? I know that was, he was doing a lot of things, and just letting all hang out. Cool. I'm not saying that, and it's just not my cup of tea. I just found it to be very dry. Now if I go back, will stuff point out to me? Sure, but I can say this: I can see where groups like Brockhampton got influenced by Frank Ocean.
Yeah.
I could hear it. That's why I say I'm not slapping him down or anything like it, but this did not connect with me. It was sleepy time music.
All right, Jason, put us on game. Help us out.
Woo,
connect
boy,
the dots.
I had to let y'all cook for a minute. I wanted to make sure everybody got it all out. I hear.
All right, everybody, let it out.
Look, am I coming off as a hater in this?
No. I mean, no. I'm sure it's gonna be somebody in the comments that says yes. I think specifically talking about Blonde, your feelings, AD, aren't unwarranted in that, like, if you're not really into the mystique of Frank Ocean, like he only drops an album like every 4 or 5 years, like, he don't really feature on nothing. If like a lot of that played into the hype behind the album when it first came out. But let me go back before I get to that. I just want to say that, like, I understand where you're coming from to start. I'm a Frank Ocean stan. I don't know what they're talking about. I don't know. I don't agree.
Like, hey,
I just want to you can come for them. I'm only a guest. I get to leave. And I'll tell you how it happened. I mean, Candy Boo and I are about the same age. I was in college when Thinking About You was making the rounds, and everybody was hitting them falsetto notes, and I love that song. And I was like, okay, but then I was told that, like, it was basically like Frank Ocean wrote the song and he was like making a reference track for a different artist, but apparently the song was so good that he ended up putting it on his album. But anyway, I listened to Nostalgia Ultra and I felt like AD. I was like, I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't like, there were maybe like 2 or 3 songs on first listen that I just liked, and it was like, okay, kind of, but like I was like, he's just doing covers of like Coldplay and the Eagles, and I don't get it. I don't understand, but okay. But then I heard Channel Orange in 2012. That's somewhere in 2012, and it kind of blew my mind with how good it was, like how much I liked it. That was the moment that you're having right now, Candace, with Blonde. That's what I was having with Channel Orange. I was just surprised at like how cohesive it was, but also like how much variety was in it. He was just playing around with a lot of different genres, a lot of different sounds. Like you mentioned, Pyramids, that 10-minute fucking masterpiece of a song. You're just like, what is going on? Even though it is like, especially the second half is a lot more low tempo, but it makes sense in the theme of the song itself. And he was, and he started, he was showing up. He was, writing and producing for Beyonce and still doing stuff for like Odd Future. He was clearly like post Channel Orange, still showing that like, okay, the hype is real. Like everything that people were saying about him. And it started to kind of build that mythos, behind Frank Ocean. So I remember August 2016 being at a wedding. It was the first wedding that Daniela and I ever went to. And it was a Saturday. And I remember because Frank Ocean had dropped, we hadn't talked about it yet, but he dropped 2 albums in August of 2016. The first one, the Endless Project, he was doing, he was like woodworking on Apple Music. It was just like a live video. What? And it was like in a loop and a feedback for like 2 or 3 days straight. And then eventually on Thursday, he ended up like, apparently, the video went and it was endless. It was that first EP that he had. And people were like,
to that too. No trouble.
But that's what I was getting ready to say to AD's point. That album felt rough, unfinished, unpolished, very like, just here you go. And I don't know if it was ever confirmed, but I do remember people were saying that it was rumored that he just kind of put that album out to get out of his Def Jam contract. So that way, Blonde, when it came out, it's not confirmed, but that way, so when Blonde came out, it was under his label, Boys Don't Cry. So anyway, 2 days later, after Endless, I'm at this wedding. And I'm with Danny, and I'm like checking Twitter, in between like people giving toast. And I don't really know the bride or the groom like that. We just got invited because we was coworkers. But I'm scrolling and I'm on Twitter doing what I usually do. And I'm just scrolling. Baby. Blonde is out. baby. Frank Ocean drop. Like we stayed for the whole wedding, had a great time. But when we got home, the first thing we did was roll the blunt and started listening to Blonde in the dark. And when I tell,
that feels like an experience.
It absolutely was that. And then of course, I had my podcast at the time, so I was excited to talk about it. And we usually, we wouldn't talk about an album like the weekend it came out. Like we would wait like a week and a half at least to just kind of let our thoughts marinate and listen to it a bunch of times. But I was so stuck on what to say at the time. I can remember because this album is strange. This album is weird, okay? Like, I have to be honest about that while also exclaiming that it's like one of my favorite albums of the last 10 years. Like, it just doesn't. I have come to appreciate. Like, I feel like I can honestly say that I used to be a lot more of a music snob than I may be perceived as now. Like, I'm a lot more open to just like more what some people would say is like unfinished or just kind of rough around the edges. Like, okay, the mix is a little off. The vocals are a little buried. They're trying some different things. Like and this album is not it's not a follow-up to Channel Orange. It's not a traditional R&B album. It's not like anything else that came out around that time. I mean, you see artists now are still trying to like emulate the mystery of Frank Ocean. You know what I mean? Like there are definitely artists that play around with that, like that cavernous R&B sound, like Nick Hakim. I don't know why it's the only artist coming to mind right now, but you know what I mean?
Like, does a pretty good job.
Yeah, and I enjoy those artists, and I think it's partly because of Blonde that I'm more open to just like that kind of sound. Sampha, that's another one that I think of, that I'm more open to that, just like not incomplete, but just like aesthetically hollow sound. Blonde, I mean, it's literally got a skit on it with this French man talking about Facebook. Like it's somebody playing his mom with a nasally voice telling you not to smoke weed,
And
like,
then the song right after is talking about so much drugs, and I was like, but so the skits also did make me like that piece actually felt timeless. Like there were some things, some of those sounds that you were talking about, like that like feel unfinished or different or weird. Some of those are the sound piece of it, like when AD was talking about Brockhampton, that's what it made me think of.
Yeah.
But I still feel like it is like it's a staple piece, and it, even though there are some things that kind of sound like 2016, it does not sound like 2016, if that makes sense. Like it's not like the whole album sounds like that period. But yes, sorry, I got sidetracked because you were talking about those sounds.
No, that's all right. Basically, I just wanted to explain my standery for this album in particular and explain how I got from not really caring a whole lot about Frank Ocean to now being like, bro, it's been 7 years. When is the album dropping? Like, what are you doing? I'm foaming at the mouth.
And see, I'm still not yet there, but I'm hoping. Sorry, 80 changed the ticker, and that made me laugh.
I was about to say, who typed that? I don't understand the Beehive, the Navy, Frank Ocean fans that have meltdowns.
No, hold up. Okay. Oh man,
the Navy about to lose it next weekend. I tell you that. Or is it this weekend? It's this weekend. Yeah.
Yeah, this coming. Oh.
As of this recording, it'll be this weekend still.
Yeah. Yep. First of all, I still don't think that I'm at foaming at the mouth levels, but I'm definitely I'm anticipating it. And I realized that after you were going back and telling that story, I think that I spent up my mysterious artist energy on the weekend. I feel like that's it. Like that, the reason that I couldn't do it twice is because I had already expended it on Abel, and then by the time that Frank was like really bubbling up, Abel had already like shown his face and started doing whatever. I'm just gonna everything always circles back around to the weekend sometimes on this podcast, and I'm just gonna blame it on that. I'm gonna blame maybe me missing the Frank vote on Abel again. Always
see. That was my first question when you had first said that this was our main topic. Was I was going. Sorry, that's Bino in the background. See, but my first question was, how did you miss the Frank Ocean hype? But then you answered it immediately when you started. Is that like it was an Apple Music exclusive? I totally forgotten about that part till you said
it. So that for Blonde specifically, everything, like I was around for Nostalgia Ultra and Channel Orange. Like I remember all of that. And then Blonde came out and then everybody was like, Blonde. And I was like,
you were like, I can't even listen to that shit.
Can't even hear it. So and again, I remember people were, I think it was like leaked or something. Like, there were places where you could listen to it, but I was like whatever, who cares?
No, I did the card test. Now that thing, I remember the card test, and I think I had the same reaction to right now.
I made it. You should let me listen to it on a walk. I was grooving this morning when I was listening to it on a walk.
I couldn't get with it. Like that's just me, right?
Yeah.
And I understand of the roughness or whatnot. Like again, I listen to hip hop, and I like when certain times when the right producer and right engineer makes a track sound rough or gritty. It's not overproduced or whatnot.
Right.
I think maybe it was just like maybe the production could have been just a little bit more up tempo at times. Just I'm not saying it had to be overproduced, but just to break up the monotony, because it just sounded like one song flowing to another, and it was just.
and again, I get that criticism. I mean, I'm looking at the tracks right now. I think the only track that would like perk you up would be Pink and White.
Yep, and I mean that's so early, and that's so early into the project.
Which track had Andre on it? Because that was
the solo reprise. Yeah, that definitely that'll like wake you up like a shot of coffee.
I mean,
yeah,
but then it gets sleepy. After
and is that the one that because there's a song in there that does like 3 beat changes?
There's that's Nights.
Yeah.
I think I like the second part of Nights, or when that actually like okay, this is a better production. Then it's just like it went back to just going back to sleep.
It's like, crazy. I know exactly what part you're talking about, and I get it. Like from your perspective, I get it.
Yeah, see, I'm not a hater. See, look, I already know people.
I'm saying like, you sound like a hater, but people that listen to the album and are honest about it will understand that. Like, okay, I get what you mean.
I mean, thankfully, even in stand-up, like as somebody who is a part of a stand-up, you can also just be honest. Like, it's okay to be like, yeah, I don't get it, but y'all do. And that's where I was starting. I don't get it, but y'all do.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. And this is no shade to people whose real job this is, but I do feel like because of the mythos that Frank Ocean built, like when Blonde came out, everyone was fawning to call it a masterpiece like almost immediately. Without really giving it like I feel like, and it's not to say that like it's gotten worse over time, because I really don't think it has. Like it's one of those albums to me, like it's almost background noise with like how embedded in my brain it is. Like I've listened to it that much, And I appreciate the little, just all the stuff that I just talked about before. But I do just feel like there was a rush to be like, Frank Ocean is out. Okay, we got to talk about this first. Okay, now we got the highest score, and we're not going to really get into detail of like what we like about this album. We're just going to talk about like, oh, it's great to have Frank Ocean back. And like it's a little weird, but like, you know what I mean? Like it didn't, some of it didn't feel authentic, to be honest. I do think, again, I still saying that it's a great album, but I feel like over time it's gotten better in a way that I don't think was captured when the reviews first came out.
Of course not. And that's because I'm gonna hold in my music journalism frustration. Like I'm gonna keep it inside, because that always triggers me to be so. I mean, I do it all the time on the podcast, but I get fucking mad. I get mad. I'm trying to
go. Just call what it is. Music journalism.
I'm trying to
journalism. I'll do it for you. Music journalism. Hell, I would say a lot of journalists, and no matter what area that you're in, is trash these days because they're afraid to say what's on their mind because it's going to offend the political connector, or somebody gets called a hater for just saying, hey, this is why I feel this way, Or I would put it to you this way, right? I think I watched a video on YouTube where it was like, where someone said, here is the reason why you can't be a partial reviewer. And it's because you are going to have biases.
Oh yeah.
And a lot of times people operate from their bias instead of saying, hey, let me just be upfront here. This is where I'm in my level, and this is where my bias is. Now, this is why I'm telling you my reaction coming from this part. It's the same way that people may want to put the crown on Drake for everything, right? Yeah, I understand it. He's an Arab, but we've had this discussion before. The man is just doing the same thing. Hell,
he's a hit factory.
He's
Drake is a hit sweatshop.
But he marks off the right boxes if you are building your artist. He's not offensive.
I mean,
the ladies like him.
I mean,
and what I mean by
in a general sense, he's
not.
No,
I know.
Yeah, no, I understand what recent events, aside,
right?
Yeah. Aside,
for sure.
But he's literally, the ladies like him. The guys want to be him because he gets all the ladies.
Yeah.
He bringing in money. He plays chameleon to any track. Which we could talk about. We could talk about what OVO does as a record label. Since that is a sweatshop over there, and they just give him all the good stuff. Majid Jordan, Party Next Door. Who else am I forgetting?
I don't remember.
I forgot where we were going.
Oh, Division. I mean, they were under him at one
that's right.
point.
They were.
They're still under him.
Right?
Oh, they are?
Yeah. But yes, I agree with the frustration with music journalism, but this is not to discredit. There are people that are out there doing good.
Yeah, that's what I wanted.
Good work.
That's what I wanted to say.
But it's very far. It's very few and far, right?
It's not even just that. It's also not what people like, and by people I mean the general public on social media care to see. Like,
exactly.
Twitter doesn't reward good music journalism with virality. You know what I mean? I
think that's the frustrating part about it. I get mad when I have to, and I said this some episodes ago, when I have to mute Hip Hop DX because your topics are Drake ate a piece of cheese today. We got mad. I was visibly and audibly upset when that whole thing about Drake and the 47 diamonds or whatever the fuck, and he made a chain. I was like, this is not news.
That was the headline on every single site that you would consider And
I mean, on sites that are we're talking about music, and that frustrates me.
Right.
Because you said, the rush to call Blonde a masterpiece, the mad dash. And now it's kind of I even appreciate journalists and platforms that are like, hey, it's the 5th anniversary of, Enter album here. Let's revisit, let's discuss. Like,
right.
I used to appreciate Yo's like 24 first listen, 24 hour,
the one listen review,
one listen reviews.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember
that was so honest.
But the thing is, I remember that he used to like tweet, like just like when he was tweeting personally, like he would stay up all night. So like this isn't like one listen review. He rolled out of bed, played the album one time, and then wrote some fucking words. Like he would stay up all night and like listen and take notes. And I mean, always shout out to Yo, because the essays were essaying every single time. And it's just like, but we don't get that. We get Drake made a chain. And that's the piece that like pisses me off. Like, I hate that we get here. We get young Miami, or whichever one of the child likes to be pissed on by Diddy. We just get all of that. We get all of this, and it's like we do, like, and we never ask. I just don't. No, I don't want that no more.
That's a much bigger and more depressing conversation.
Exactly. I just don't want it no more. I just
look. If you want to be honest, we can. If you want to talk about the downfall of music journalism, I can connect it to the downfall of MTV.
Oh boy. That seems stressful, and I'm not going to let us do that to ourselves tonight.
No, but what I say is this, right? Early MTV had and when it first came out, it was done by DJs, but then they elevated to have actual music news shows and built things around that. So you were getting like the real, behind the scenes, even just, their one-on-ones, even if they were fluff pieces, it was still MTV news. They were talking about different things. I remember growing up, the little like 2-minute news bites, I still remember the typewriter popping up MTV News. Like when they announced the death of Biggie and Pac, I got it from there. I think, that's how I grew up. It was actual news journalism report. They talked about when they were doing True Life, and they talked about the downfalls of the record industry and how they broke it down and saying, hey, a lot of people are out here faking it, and let's call everybody's hyping up $1 million advance. Let's really break down what $1 million looks like in the music industry. $1 million ain't crap. And that's still to this day a lot of people go back to, but you don't get that nowadays. Hell, BT doesn't do that nowadays. Everybody wants to put whatever reruns. MTV's basically ridiculousn's now.
BET gonna run that baby. BET gonna run that baby boy 7 days a week. I tell you
that. They are Big Mama's house.
Oh my God! I mean, all right. I'm feeling myself get sad, and I'm not gonna do it.
Yeah. See, I was about to say that's a different conversation.
What I'm going to do.
This is gonna be a part two. This is gonna be a part two.
I mean, yes, I will put a pin in that, but I will always circle it back, because at least once every other episode, I have to remind you that obviously, if you're listening, you're doing well and keeping your music commentary content diverse. But y'all, we gotta claw ourselves away from the virality, from the clickbait, from stuff. And I mean, the closer I get to 30, the more I feel like I sound like get off my lawn. But I just want us to be more intentional about the music we listen to. Like, again, if you're here, obviously this isn't for you because you're already here. But like for new people, or just trying to get into just being more intentional music consumers, like that viral shit is going to drive us nuts. It's really going to, like keeping up with every single drop that comes out, like these lists every Friday that are like, these artists are dropping, like it's going to drive us insane. So said all that to say, let us do the work for you. I will there is new music. I actually have a very good artist for New Noise that I'm excited to talk about. Like, let's not let trying to hit 1 million likes on social media distract us from the fact that there's still good music out here in the industry.
Come on, we could go for the 1 million views. Let's cause controversy and talk about Sam Smith and the devil. Come on.
Oh my God. Yeah, okay. So you have to put me on game. Y'all have to. I don't know what this devil. I don't know. I mean, it's so I saw that he was dressed him and Kim Petras, which first of all, I don't give a fuck. I love that song, and that song is like a viral TikTok song.
I believe Sam Smith goes by they them now. I think they're non-binary.
Okay, cool. I love that Unholy song with Kim Petras.
I have only heard it like as a TikTok song, and every time I hear it, I get mad at my phone. And it's not that it's a bad song. It's just it's very loud when it comes on, and I'm just
it's 100% loud.
I'm scrolling trying to find like funny black memes or people cooking and cats and shit, and all of a sudden I'm like but then I actually heard the song and I was like, oh, it's pretty catchy.
It is a pop song. It's a pop song. Yeah. So what did they do? What's the devil?
Well,
I saw it's called Unholy, and the Sam and Kim were dressed in all red, and then they had like an entourage of people dressed.
It's basically dressed up as the devil. They're playing up.
Tucker Carlson got offended and talked about it on his cable news show.
Did he really?
A lot of people
no, I'm asking.
I was like, did he really?
I'm sure he did, because they're just looking for something to complain about. But
yeah, but it was like him, because have you seen the have you seen the music video?
No, I haven't seen the music video.
Okay, so the music video is it plays out to the song for most of it, right? And it's about we all know things, guys going around doing some dirt and whatever, right? And it plays out like a musical, right?
Mm-hmm.
But they went and said, hey, we're just going to go over the top. So hey, Sam, you're going to wear a ringmaster's hat with devil horns on it.
Oh, in the video.
Huh?
In the video.
No. On the Grammys, this is what he did.
I didn't see the hat with the horn. Maybe I saw a different picture. I'm about to Google.
So he's there. Everybody's dressed up in bright red. So the devil worship.
I mean, if it fits the theme of the song, right? Or it fits the theme,
right?
Of
like
it fit. Like I didn't think. I was like this. I was like, oh, okay. I can't wait for the deep think pieces to come out Monday morning about this, right? Because it's basically the same shit that Lil Nas X did last year or the year before.
I mean, and I actually can't find myself to give a fuck about these think pieces. I barely cared about the Grammys, so I mean, we can start there. But I
think it's a dangerous precedent to set, to be worried about like what people are gonna say and let that dictate your art. You know what I mean? I think that just I hear where you're coming from.
Yeah.
But I think that if I was an artist, especially an artist that's at Sam Smith's level, I just wouldn't care. I feel like you have to.
And then executing, you know what I mean? Like Lady Gaga was like my youth, like Me Too, like, you know what I mean? I mean, and
literally bleeding out on stage,
like, and then Madonna was a whole era too. Like, let's
that little pussy.
I just think we start to lose what's important in the conversation when we start to see the ground to like, oh, like we know that they're going to complain on the Daily Wire and on Fox News and all these other places, but like just let them talk, because that's all they got to talk about is whatever the culture war is today. So that's fine.
Exactly right. I'm not shocked.
I think just for me, I'm not, like I said, I really didn't watch. Congratulations to Beyonce for breaking the Grammy record. Right. Congratulations. Don't understand the outrage that people say that Renaissance should have been album of the year, when I'm sorry, she won 3 out of the 4. If you want to say, I understand why people said it, but it looked like it was a split vote.
Well, yeah, I was about to say. So to tie it into that Variety article that had the anonymous like Grammy voters.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't realize that I had so much beef until we read through. So I'll link the article, but I'll summarize some of the thoughts between a couple of Grammy voters. But some of the consensus.
You got put me onto this, because this is my first time really hearing about this.
Some of the consensus was, basically, Adele and Beyonce are already so popular and they already have so many Grammys. So I just kind of didn't vote for them because they already have Grammys. And like that thought alone, I didn't realize that would piss me off so much.
It just confirmed what people already know and feel, you know,
exactly
like that. I mean, there was a lot of, and she's not lying. Like with the article, and it's important that people read it for context. It's just like they spoke to 5 Grammy voters anonymously. They just gave like how old they are and like how long they've been voting, basically, and they gave their opinions on and basically their votes for each of the top 4 categories: record of the year, song of the year, album of the year, and best new artist. But their thoughts just confirmed the worst of like what people already were thinking about the Recording Academy, and that like on one hand it is very much like out of touch, like in that there are people that are willingly just like, I don't even like there was this 70-something-year-old person that said something like every time Beyonce comes out with an album, there's all this pomp and circumstance around it, and I just don't understand it. Like I just don't get it, and so I just didn't even consider her for any of these categories. Like just openly said that. There was a 30-year-old woman who had said something like basically what Candy Boo had said, like Adele and Beyonce, I'm just kind of tired of seeing them in these categories, so I didn't even think about them. People would say like, hey, this album wasn't their best album, but I just like this band, so I just want them to win, so I voted for them. And it was
it's a clusterfuck, and
it was very confusing that like they, even under anonymity, it was confusing that people like willingly put that out there, because I'm just like, I feel like the people that already weren't taking you seriously, they're just gonna be like, see what we were talking about, but like you're willingly putting out your ignorance out there. Like people that legitimately, like the 70-plus-year-old guy was like, I don't even listen to all this music. I just voted with what was familiar to me. And I'm just like, who is forcing y'all to vote?
I think the sick part about it too is when you think about, even with Beyonce and Adele, like knowing that, you know, yes, they've got lots of Grammys and they're very, very talented. You can still tell that in both 30 and Renaissance, they put both of their feet into making the album. So like, just to be like, well, they can sing, great, clap, clap, good job, fuck them, we don't care. Like to like, you know, really truly disregard their hard work and just be like, oh, okay,
just off of like vibes, you know. And
yeah,
but to tie it,
actually, fuck them.
To tie it back to what AD was saying earlier, like, I mean, Beyonce on one hand, yes, did as of Sunday break the record for the most Grammy wins in history with 32. But the point that this article is making, and it's very clear in just talking to 5 of however many, you know, if it's 5 people talking like this openly, you can only imagine how other people feel. But she was nominated for 8 categories and won 4, but she was shut out of the top 4, you know, like or at least the top 3 that she would have been for record, song, and album of the year, completely shut out. And I'm not going to talk too much on Harry Styles and whoever else won in those categories, because first of all, actually Lizzo was one of those people, so shout out to Lizzo. I'm a Lizzo fan.
Yeah.
But I don't want to talk too much on artists whose music I haven't listened to, and I also don't want to talk too much bad about the artist, because it's not the artist's fault that they win. It's such an awkward. It's always such an awkward position.
It's a political game. It's the Harry Styles thing. I could go more into depth about Harry Styles and about what he's doing, because I don't know.
No, I mean,
I could open up the controversy, but
let's not.
Let's not. AD want them clicks.
No, let's not. Let's not even say we did.
But I'm not. But that's not on him. Like the song, right? I was like, okay, this is actually a good song. I don't know about the rest of the album, but again, that's.
Well, see, it's not even just that. I just mean that, like, every time I feel like we get this wrong, well, I feel like when Kendrick got snubbed by Macklemore and Ryan Lewis for album of the year, and to his credit, the corny thing that he did was send that text message like, oh my God, I'm so, like, that was corny as shit and he shouldn't have done that. But like the way that we all tend to go after the artists instead of like the Academy themselves, I just feel like it's a waste of time and energy. And the same thing happened this time. And I just feel like this article came out a week before the Grammy ceremony. So I'm honestly surprised that I didn't hear about it. But it only makes sense. Like it highlights the inherent bias and like the ridiculousness of
that's why I didn't watch, right? And people
exactly.
and honestly, people, hyping up. Yes, they did a big hip hop 50 celebration. That was cool until like the newer artists came out, which they were saying like kind of brought down the energy a little bit. Was it Guy? The rendition Guy did, and Jay-Z rapping that for 5 minutes and whatnot. And I was like, okay, that's cool. That's cool and everything. But it's like, honestly, I'm like this. I don't need to watch this because it's literally
right.
I can see the games, right? And I was like this. It doesn't. Oh, and here's the math, right? We're not going to give album of the year to Beyonce, and people of the Beehive like, oh, she should have had album of the year. That's here nor there, right? But
I'm sorry. Go ahead and finish your thought.
But here's the thing: she's going to break the record. Oh, at the same time, look at the hype for her tour. So think about that. Is okay. Tour's coming, and you don't think that tour is going to break the record that Bad Bunny set?
That don't mean that she don't deserve it though, and I think that's kind of the point. Like,
I'm not saying that's a discussion. That's a discussion,
right?
For whatnot, right? Again, I haven't listened to the Harry Styles, and I probably will say the Harry Styles album is not album of the year, right? Rick, can you pull up the category? I just want to go off the top of my
I can't find it, but I mean the category was. I remember the category being relatively stacked.
Yeah, it was like 10 artists in that one, I'm pretty sure. But AD, just to push back on what you were saying a little bit. I mean, I agree with Candy Boo. Like, I mean, nobody's saying that like Beyonce should be dissatisfied. Now, I honestly think, and she does this every time that she gets snubbed in this way. She does it so graciously that I don't even think you could say like she's like throwing a fit about it or like upset about it. She's not like
it's not her. It's not her. It's that Beehive, and this kind of why I go against the Beehive because there's so much. They say so much stuff, and it's like, okay, stop, just stop for a minute.
Right? AD, see, and again, speaking as a bee at this point, speaking as inside of the hive. Let me give you live from inside of the hive. It's Jay Burritos. I understand how from the outside looking in because I was once outside and I didn't understand. This is again like very Frank Ocean-esque, and like it took Lemonade for me to be like,
here I am.
No, it was like I've been listening to her all my life, and the songs that I've heard, the singles I love are great. I really like Self-Titled, but I still wasn't ready to give it to her then for whatever reason. Lemonade blew my fucking mind. Renaissance should have been album of the year, regardless. But take all that aside, like regardless of my biases of being a stan, like just look at how she's been snubbed for album of the year. I'm pretty sure every time or all but one time that she's been nominated for.
I think the one time did she win album of the year for her second album?
That might have been the one. I don't know off the top of my head. I ain't gonna lie.
I'm sorry. That was a terrible album.
But what I'm saying, like, what?
Okay, we can go with that because she just screamed for that entire album.
You threw me off my train of thought. What was I saying? Shoot. Okay, that's what I was saying. Okay, tie the fact that she's been snubbed for those album of the year, record of the year, song of the year categories more often than not, and then also take the context when you do get to read that article of just 5 people whose job it is to vote on how they feel about the music. And and what's crazy about the article is that as much bad as we just pointed out, there's a lot of good and there's a lot of insight in there too. Like there was a lot of people just being honest about like, I like the Lizzo record, but it just didn't like do it for me. Or like, I just didn't, that had like more subjective and sometimes even technical reasons for why I didn't like something. But it was the people that are like that under the cloak of anonymity was like, I'm not voting for Beyonce anymore because I just feel like she's got enough rewards.
And like, but said it with their chest.
Right. And that being the prevailing mindset of people whose job it is to vote for like the biggest awards in music is problematic in my opinion. I just don't see like taking away, like, I don't get Beyonce, that's a different, like you as a consumer can say that, I feel like, but if your job it is to vote on album of the year categories, I mean, there were people that were willingly saying like, I ain't even listened to these. I just went with ABBA because that's an old band that I recognize. You know what I mean? Like, and that's a problem.
That's okay. And I got the list right here in front. Harry's House, Harry Styles, of course he won, but Voyage, ABBA, 30 Adele. Okay, I would say that's up there. I'm not going to pronounce it, but from his Bad Bunny's record,
Bad
okay.
Bunny, yep.
Oh yeah.
Renaissance, okay. Good Morning, Gorgeous, Mary J. And These Silent Days, Brandy Carlisle. I don't know about that. I never listened to it. Coldplay, Music of the Spheres. I didn't even know Coldplay was still putting out music.
Exactly. I mean, it's literally a joke nomination. Like, why is that? And that's no shit. I used to be a Coldplay stan before they went like super pop with it, and I just really didn't mess with it no more. But like, why are we nominating Coldplay for Album of the Year in 2023?
Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers, Kendrick Lamar, yes.
Understood.
Yeah. And Special Lizzo. So
understood.
Well, and that's the thing. When I remember seeing the list and remember that it was super duper stacked.
It was stacked.
And so, like, my thing was, if this doesn't happen this year, I could see why. But it being Harry Styles, and I haven't heard Harry's album, but like, even for it to not be any of them other, like, I mean, it was stacked. So even I was actually thinking it was gonna be Bad Bunny. And my thing is,
that's the only album,
and I would have been cool with
Lucy.
Bad Bunny. And I was like, if it would have been Bad Bunny, I would have been like 2 thumbs up, great. But Harry Styles?
And look, I can honestly tell you what happened in that room, right? This is most likely what happened. No, it's this, right?
All I'm saying is that we can too. We read, we're talking about that article where people literally told us what they were thinking.
Yeah, I can see how this goes on in that room. Jumping off of what yours is off of what you were saying about the article, I can easily see how this went. Right? You got basically Adele, Lizzo, and I'll say Renaissance kind of split the vote. Right? I would say Bad Bunny, if he won, I think that would have been historical, actually, if I'm not mistaken. But I could see those ones are splitting the vote. I think Kendrick Lamar was going to be an outside shot. So so basically it was like, okay, Harry Styles over this past year was literally everywhere, even when you didn't want to see him. He put out that album. He put out 2 movies. He played to a certain
2 movies. See, I guess.
But what I'm saying is, you gotta look at it from this is politics now. This is record company now. So it's like this.
Yeah.
Who's doing the work? Who's doing the foot traffic or whatnot? Adele did herself, but she was like, I'm cool, right? Beyonce's about to do that with the world tour. So I can easily see it's like, okay, Harry Styles was honestly, if it had to come down to it, it was like top 3 was Harry Styles, Bad Bunny, or Beyonce, and literally votes were split, and then went to Harry Styles just probably by like 1 or 2 votes.
I offer a heavy Negro sigh, and that's really all I got for the Grammys at this point. I mean, I was going to catch clips of whatever I wanted to see, and in reality, I'm not going to discredit. I'm still very much excited. Beyonce is most nominated, and like the people who got, like, I heard Tim's got her first Grammy. Viola Davis is an EGOT now. Like,
yep.
Yay. Yeah. Like, super excited. But I'm not about to sit here and delve into Grammys discourse unless it's jokes anymore. Like, I will read, the Variety article and, laugh at them voters, but I refuse to give the Grammys like energy.
Wait, hold up. I'm looking at this. Best pop vocal album. Harry Styles won that. Oh no.
See, again, that's what I'm saying. You're digging, and I refuse. I literally do not care. I wanted to hear the highlights. Like I said, happy for the highlights. Don't care about shit else. I don't care about them no more. And I really am just first of all, I'm not gonna watch it unless cable magically falls into my lap somewhere. I'll never see it live again. So there's that.
Oh, it's on cable. It's on CBS.
That's cable. I don't have that.
CBS is not cable.
I mean, I don't have anything that like transmits live TV in my,
Right.
home. Like, I don't got that.
We youngins don't believe in cable
Yeah,
these days. We don't, or anything
Yeah,
close.
but y'all paying, but y'all with how many stuff is coming out, what they trying, you basically paying for cable.
Not me, because I share.
we splitting them passwords, baby.
But all that aside, I'm not giving the Grammys any more energy.
Yeah,
and
I'm talked out.
Yeah, that's not to say that you can't, and I'm not, no judgment, but no. But to wrap us up, I have to say this before I wrap us up. New Noise is going to be super quick. At some point, I'm going to get us a soundbite. I swear to God. There's an album that I was recommended on Spotify. I don't know. I want to say she's French. Her name, or the music itself, is in French. Her name is Yaya Nakamura. And the album is called, it's something in French, and I don't want to mess it up.
Sounds like a Joshi wrestler.
A who wrestler?
Joshi wrestler. That's a female Japanese wrestler. That's what's called Joshi.
Okay, so the album is DNK, and it released January 27th. I got hip to it last week. 15 songs, 42 minutes. Literally a vibe. And I, shoot me for describing things as vibes, but I mean, it's got like this cool melodic, like a little bit of Afrobeat, a little bit of different types of production in it. I do not know what she's saying because it is in French, but whatever she's saying, she's doing it very beautifully, and like great cadence and stuff like that. I urge you, please listen to this album. It's so fun. Yeah, I wanted to put New Noise in there before I got too far away from ourselves and we record for a long time and I didn't say it. But New Noise, Yaya Nakamura, DNK, please go listen. All right.
I finally have one for you.
Yes, and you need to listen to this, AD, because it's French rap.
Well, you guys send me the link. But
Okay.
I got one. Because while waiting for you to do whatever you were doing, I just clicked on title and it just says suggested new albums. And to piggyback off of our most influential era of music, this artist I stumbled upon, her name is Wilsn, Wilsn. And she is of that Motown era. She is Australian. But like I said, it's a Motown era, but she gives off, I would say the production definitely gives off that Amy Winehouse vibes.
Oh.
And the girl can sing. I think Jay would definitely like it. Be like, oh, like really, I didn't even know about this, but it was like, oh,
okay.
I'm excited. I'm gonna listen to it.
Yeah, it came out left field. The album is the project, because this is her debut album. It is called Those Days Are Over. 45 minutes. And came out last week, February 3rd. So
putting it on my list now.
I'm excited. I love when we actually have New Noise. Gigi is purring into the mic, which I love.
I'm literally being bullied, as you can see right now. He is ready to go. So do I get to leave a New Noise as well?
Yes, of course.
Okay.
Gigi can leave one too.
Does it have to be? I know you hear him. His New Noise is. But does it have to be something that came out like recently, or just something that's new to me?
No, something that's new to you.
Okay. Well, this did come out last year. It's by a young lady. Her name is Yaya. The project is Remember Your North Star. I keep getting suggested, you know how sometimes the Spotify algorithm be algorithming, and it actually suggests you something that like, hold up, now hold up. I really like her swagger. It's very Mariba. If you listen to Mariba from Spillage Village, is very much that vibe. I think you would enjoy it. It's like that deep southern, like throwback to neo soul-esque kind of vibe. You see how he's literally just tapping me on the face? he's like wrap it up, B, wrap it up. Okay, so yeah, that's my new noise. Her name is Yaya, Yaya. Okay, let me finish. Bey, B-E-Y, like Beyonce, and the album is Remember Your North Star. Check that out.
Damn, we got some really good new noises. I'm excited to listen. Like,
we gotta. But before I forget, it is the 20-year anniversary of 50 Cent's "Get Rich or Die Trying."
You know, I did see that.
Oh, Nick is jumping for joy right now.
I did see that.
I was wondering why I hadn't heard from Nick today. That's all he's been doing is listening to 50 Cent.
That's all he's been doing.
Hey, I can't lie. I put that on during the weekend just to bump it a little bit. Still knocks. I
guess since we're mentioning anniversaries and birthdays, today is the birthday of two legendary producers that are no longer with us, Jay Dilla and Nuja Bess. So happy birthday to both of them.
Yes, I love this. Damn, a lot's happening. And again, I'm just still shocked that it's February.
I know.
Here we are just
right.
Existing. Lord, we also have been recording for almost an hour and a half, which is a feat, and I'm very proud of us.
I hate to dash like this because I had a great time with y'all, and I really hope to be back again to just like talk shit with y'all and just.
No, we have a part 2 coming up, so.
Yeah,
I'm excited to do that, but I gotta leave before this boy tears the carpet up. So
just take care of your home life. We'll wrap up very quickly. That's actually the end of us. Thank you guys for listening and sticking through one of our another guest episode, one of our longer episodes, but a favorite episode. And this has been the BINACT Podcast, where we talk music, the people that make it, and the communities that listen to it. We'll be back in 2 weeks. Be safe, everybody. Talk to you soon. Bye.